Hello everyone, my name is Suraj Jaiswal and welcome to the seventh and the last tutorial of the course entitled Simulation of a Mechatronic Machine. In today's tutorial, we will be modeling custom hydraulic components. So just a disclaimer that if you have not followed the sixth tutorial, it's recommended to follow the sixth tutorial first and then follow this tutorial. As you can see in the sneak peek animation, we will focus on modeling custom hydraulic components, specifically a directional control valve and a hydraulic actuator. So these are the list of contents that I would like to cover. First, a continuation from the sixth tutorial, then a possible requirement of the SimScape multibody multiphysics library, because that's what we used in the sixth tutorial. And then a brief overview about what our system has. So basically a simple hydraulically actuated system and what we want to achieve. So basically we want to achieve custom hydraulic component modeling, particularly directional control valve and hydraulic actuator. And then at last, I will show you how to carry out the static equilibrium, finding the static equilibrium for the complete system. So this was already covered in finding static equilibrium was already covered in the sixth tutorial. So it will be a repetition of that. So continuation from the sixth tutorial, we will copy paste the model, the simulation model from the sixth tutorial, and we will save it as a new file. This may require to rerun the activation script for the SimScape multibody multiphysics library. So let's go ahead. First, we will rerun the activation file for that add-on. So I will navigate to the folder where I have installed that add-on. So multibody multiphysics library. I have MATLAB 2019A version. So I run this startup underscore sm underscore ssci.m file. If I run this file, it will set the path for this add-on and it will open this SimScape multibody multiphysics library. We can simply close it. Now we can navigate it to the folder where we would like to save our model. But before that, we can navigate to the folder for the sixth tutorial. And this is our model that we used. So let's open that model. So once the model is open, this is what we modeled in the sixth tutorial. We will go ahead and save as this model for a new file in the seventh tutorial folder. We will rename it as custom components underscore for YouTube video. Okay, if you run this file, it might show you some error because it will try to fetch the steady state report data, which we did in the sixth tutorial. So to get rid of that, you can go to model configuration parameters. You can go to data import and export. You need to uncheck this input and initial state. So basically the report for the from the steady state manager, and we press OK. Now if we run the simulation model, we can see, okay, before that we need to make Y up because we assume, and this front view, because we assume that X is horizontal, Y is in the vertical plane, and Z is coming out of the plane for all of us as shown here. So if we switch on the frames and the center of mass, so this is what we had in tutorial 6, right? Now Let's go back to our presentation. So I already showed you how to rerun the activation file. So coming back to our simple hydraulically actuated system. This is the system that we have and we already modeled in the sixth tutorial, where we had a mechanical system and a hydraulic system, right? If you remember carefully, we used the ready-made components which were available in Simscape already for almost all the hydraulic components. So even the directional control valve and the hydraulic actuator. But in this tutorial, we want to replace the ready-made directional control valve block and the hydraulic actuator block with a custom made component block that we will be modeling in this week's tutorial, correct? So how we can do that? We can do that using Simscape component block. So let me show you what I mean. So if you search for Simscape component, using this Simscape component, we will be modeling our custom made component. So it will help you to define a new component which is not a part of the default library. All of these components other than this one is a part of default library. I mean, this is also from the library, but you can make a function, make a component which is not present in the library, right? For that, you need to use this .ssc file uh, where we will define all the parameters for whatever component we are defining. And it is recommended to use place this .ssc file at the same place where we have our model. So let's navigate it to the seventh tutorial, this one. So the .ssc file needs to be here as well. Okay. Uh, for your convenience, I already have a template for this SSC file. So for this custom component template, uh, maybe in the description of this video, I will put a link from where you can download this template file, and we will use this template file to model our components. Okay. So this component template involves the basic format, which will help you to do the custom hydraulic component modeling, where we have nodes, input, output, parameter definition, variables, branches, equations. Okay. But be very careful before you start the coding, because you need to first understand your hydraulic component carefully. Once you have a proper understanding, coding is a very simple process. The way, if we go back to this one, the way this library component will be defined, all the other already default library components are modeled in the same way. You can go to the view source code by right clicking certain components and see how they are modeled. But note that not all the components can be opened that way. Okay. So let me go back. So let's say I copy this custom component template here and I rename it with, first we would like to model our custom hydraulic, sorry, directional valve and three-way. Let's say we are making it for YouTube. Okay. Make sure that when you open this one, let's close the other files. The name that you have given here, with the name what you save .ssc extension, the same name should be here without that extension. So the custom dvalve 3w, which is three-way for underscore YouTube and save this. So if you go back to the Simscape component and double click this, it will ask you a source file. So you can select this source file. So directional valve three-way YouTube and press OK. So it will give you this source file. Okay. Now let's go back to our presentation. So before starting the modeling, let's focus our attention uh, to our directional control valve and first understand it very carefully. And also know that whenever we model a directional control valve, we also have to model the control system for that valve. So the valve actuator or the valve control. So as a first step, let's understand our directional control valve. If you see the figure over here, we have a 3x2 directional control valve, which means it's three-way between two ports. So any two ports will be connected between three-way, and obviously one way will be the neutral where there will be no connection. So there are three ports in this directional control valve: port P, T, and A. Port P will be connected to the pump, T will be connected to tank, and A will be connected to the remaining part of the circuit. So what does this directional control valve do? It just helps you to make a connection between port P to A or A to T. So accordingly, it will have volume flow rates through this directional control valve. Suppose the volume flow rate when ports P and A are connected, which depends upon the value of U. U is basically the spool position, how you move this spool. So if U is greater than 0, then port P and A will be connected and its flow will be CV, which is the semi-empirical flow rate constant, into the spool position into this is signum function. So basically determining the sign of PP minus PA. PP is pressure at port P, which is pressure of the pump, and PA is pressure at port A, and square root of modulus of this pressure difference. Similarly, when U is less than 0, so port A and T will be connected like shown here, and accordingly the flow will be like this, depending on the pressure difference between the two ports. And when U is 0, as shown here in the middle position, then there is no flow. So QA is 0. And obviously, we also need to determine how is this U defined. U is basically uh, defining the valve control, which is governed by the first order differential equation to define the spool position. So in order to have the spool position, we need to have a reference voltage signal. So if you followed the sixth tutorial, you must be knowing that we gave an input signal, like how the valve control should behave, and accordingly, this spool position will be defined. And a time constant is also required. So once you have understand this carefully, these are the equations required to model a directional control valve and its valve actuation. In this one, if we go very briefly in terms of the requirement for our .ssc file, we need ports, nodes. So nodes is basically the ports are defined as nodes there. Then we need input variables, output variables, parameters, and other variables. Then how's the branching and what are the equations. So for nodes, three ports are defined as nodes. So we will need to define node P, T, and A. Okay. For the input, we can say that like we need this U input, U in reference voltage signal as the input. And for the output, we can have this spool position as the output, which is determined by this equation. Then in the variable, I can quickly have a look and I can say the semi-empirical flow rate constant can be one of the variables. And then this time constant can be one of the parameters, sorry, not variables, parameters. The semi-empirical flow rate constant can be one of the parameters, and the other parameter can be time constant. And in terms of variables, we will have this PP, PA, PT, then QA. Basically, there will be two QAs. So this QA, or even this QA. And then branching will be from either from P to A or A to T or no connection. And equations are this equation, which is a condition based equation, and this equation. So once you have understood this directional control valve carefully, it's very easy process to model. So like I told you already, the requirements, these are the requirements which we figured out from those equations. So we'll go ahead and now model it. So let's go back to this one. Okay, I already modeled it before, so I will keep it as a reference so that I don't mess up with the coding here. So, okay, uh, in order to code, if you read the description here in this .ssc file, all the descriptions are there. So we will follow exactly the same thing. The nodes are, the ports are defined as nodes. So in order to define nodes, this is what we need. We will just copy, three nodes are there. So node P, and we need to name it as after this percentage sign. It can be on the left of the block. Then T name will be T. It can also be on the left, and port A, it can be on the right. So what is this left, right? You need to be very careful about these descriptions because this is what is used in the modeling. These parameters, they do not show. So if you save this file and go back to this component, Simscape component, if you double click this, you see this port PTA already appeared. And why left and right? Because accordingly, port P and T will be on the one side, port A on the other side. You can choose it as you like, left, right, it doesn't matter. Using Control R option, we will rotate this so that this PT are at the bottom and A will be on the top. So, and also we will rename this component as three-way directional valve custom. So we already renamed it. Let's keep it here. Or no, let's keep it here only. Let's go back to the SSC file. So we have defined the nodes. Next, we need to define the input. So if you remember carefully, our input was U in. So using this already available template, I can say my input can be U in. Its start value can be 0. Be very careful to uh, mention this units. Unit is volt because it is provided in volt. Name is UN. Location can be on the left. Similarly, we will have an output where output is U. Start value can be 0. Unit will be volt. Name is U. Location can be right. So on the other end of the, on the other side of the of that block, uh, be very careful about how you're defining these variables because you need to be consistent and these variables will be used later. So be very careful about that. If you save this model and go to the component block and double click this, you see you already have this U in as one of the input port and U as the output port. So it will keep varying. And these values and the units, I will show you later how they appear in your component block. Now the parameter we needed the semi-empirical flow rate constant and time constant. So using this already available template, I will say, let's say CV default value. Uh, it can be procured from the manufacturer's catalog. In our case, it is 7 into 10 to the power minus 8. E minus 8 means 10 to the power minus 8. Its unit is, I'll come to that point. Description we need semi-empirical. I spelling is correct now. Semi-empirical flow rate on semi-empirical flow rate constant. Unit is something I already have it here. So unit is not this. Meter cube per second per volt per square root of Pascal. This is the unit of semi-empirical flow rate constant. Similarly, we will have we need to define tau as the time constant. Its value is 1 into 10 to the power minus 4. So the same value that we used in the sixth tutorial. Unit is second and it is time constant. Now, when I said you need to be very careful with these descriptions is because the same descriptions appears in your block. If you now go to your block and double click this, you see the variable is not showing, but the description is showing as semi-empirical flow rate constant, time constant, and the value you provided and its unit. So you need to be very careful with the description and the units along with the values, of course. So once we have defined the parameters, what were the variables? So the variables, if we go back to the presentation, so in our case, the variable can be, instead of defining PPPA separately, we can just define a variable which represents this PP minus PA. And similarly, a variable which describes this PA minus PT and the associated flow. So the Q, another variable which describes the associated flow when the variable is PP minus PA. Similarly for this one. So if we go back to this one, let's define our variable using this command here. We need two for the pressure. So let's say we define pressure between port P and A. So the pressure difference between port P and A. Description is this is P minus PA. This is what this variable represent. Its value is 0 in the beginning. Unit is Pascal. Description I already provided. And the other is P underscore AT. So the pressure difference between port A and T, its value is 0 again. Unit is Pascal and it is PA minus PT. Correct. Similarly, the associated flow when the pressure difference is PPA. So let's say So when the pressure difference is PPA, flow is QPA, and it can be 0. Unit is meter cube per second, and it is flow from P to A, correct? Similarly, we can define flow from A to T, and when the pressure difference is P underscore AT, value is 0, unit is meter cube per second, flow from A to T, correct? So if you go back to the block and double click this, you can see these variables here. So this description, whatever you gave in the description, and its unit is here, obviously. Okay. Be very careful. Like, we are defining these variables under this variable end between line 49 and 60. If you describe it under this access private part, the users cannot modify it once you have defined it here. That's why we define it here, so that later we can modify it from the component block itself. If not, it's fine. Then we need to define the branching using this option here. So the branching, we are defining it such a way that flow, this variable QPA, so this variable QPA is the flow when the port P or the node P is connected to node A, and what variable they are using, what variable they are connected using this flow variable Q, correct? Similarly, we can have the connection between AT. So for this variable AT, and this port A is connected to port T. So the branching is also done. Uh, just very careful with the branching. Uh, this is actually incorrect. I'll tell you why. It's because P and T are on one side and port A are on the other side. So always the connection should be from one side to the other, not the other way around. So when the connection is port P and A, the other connection will be port T and port A, not A and T. Why I'm saying that, because if you do the other way around, it will show you some error in the simulation. I tried it before, and that's why I came up with that error. So that's why just be very careful over here. Now, once we have defined everything, it's a good idea to just go ahead and model the equations. So if you remember the equation, we had u dot is equal to u in minus u by time constant. So how we can do u dot, because u is already as the output, u dot mm, can be modeled using this variable. So u dot der represents u dot. U dot is u in what we defined minus u divided by tau and semicolon. Uh, in the under the this equations function, do not put these equations between this let in and statement. When we will be modeling the hydraulic actuator, then I will show you the use of this one. Otherwise, you can keep the equations outside. Also, the equations are written with double equal to sign or not single equal to sign. And then we need to have the flow rate, volume flow rate equation. So we will be using if else condition. If u is greater than 0, then we will have something else. If u is less than 0, then we will have something else. We will have something, and then and just made a structure how the logic should be. Obviously, when u is greater than 0, then port P and A are connected. And in that case, the flow between port P and A can be CV into U into sign of the variable P underscore PA into square root of absolute of P underscore PA. Correct? This is what we had in the equation part if you follow the presentation. And obviously when port PA are connected, the flow through port AT is 0. So port AT will be 0. Remember double equal to sign. Similarly, when u is less than 0, then there is no flow between port A and port P and port A, because port A and T are connected, and the flow can be governed by this equation. Correct? And when there is no connection, when u is 0, then none of the ports are connected, and in that case the flows through any connection is 0. So we already defined these equations. Now be very careful that the variable and the equation count should match, otherwise there will be a problem. So if you see at any point of time, there are two equations from this if else condition and one equation here, 3. Whereas for the variable, we have 4 variables and then this u, 5. So we need additional 2 more equations. What are those 2 more equations? Is basically defining this pressure difference. So this pressure difference between port P and A can be modeled as port P pressure minus port A pressure. Similarly, we can define as pressure difference between port A and T as port A pressure minus port T pressure. Now, if we have defined everything carefully, which I think we have, uh, we should have something here. So if we double click this, every time you make any change, you need to double click this. You can see the parameters, you can see the variables, and obviously the equations are also at the back end. And we press OK. Now it's a good idea, once we have our 3-way directional control valve, let's go ahead and replace it with the one that we used earlier. So I'll remove these connections and I'll make space. We are not using this anymore. I hope I'm able to make enough room here. So this port P will be connected, T will be connected to tank. Also, we don't need this valve actuator because the valve control is already defined here. So we don't need this block either. So this input can be provided using this option. Okay, I hope things are clear now. And this A port will be connected to this. Okay, and also we have U as the output, so we'll use another PSS converter and scope. So we'll copy paste it here, rename it as U, and we'll make this connection. So now if we run the simulation, things should be fine. So let's see our animation first. So if we, okay, so the animation looks fine to us. This is what we were expecting. And let's see the plots. So the position plot looks like this. Velocity was like this even earlier. This is the pressure plot, flow, volume flow rate plot, and this is the spool position plot, which follows the input signal. Okay, things are fine. But I'm interested now how things were compared to the ready-made block. So using this data manager, let's say I'm comparing the pressure with respect to our previous run where we were using ready-made component. So now if you see the pressure plot, it's very close to each other. So that means that we have defined our component as it should be. Even you can compare the velocity plot, for example, like this. Also, the velocity plot looks very similar, except this region where you have a small difference, but I think that's fine. So things are looking in shape. That's a good news. So let's go ahead. If we have modeled this already, let me go back here. So now we can simply close this file. It's fine. Now let's go back to the presentation. So we are in accordance with what is planned. So I already showed you this part. I also showed you how the system will look, and we are using additional PSS converter and scope to plot the value of U and how the system will behave and its comparison with respect to the previous run, which is not shown in the slide here, but I showed you already in real time. So now we want to model the hydraulic actuator once we have already modeled the directional control valve. So the first step is to understand the hydraulic actuator. As you can see on the figure here, a single acting hydraulic actuator is shown, which has just one port A. Okay. And depending upon also this hydraulic actuator is connected to the rest of the circuit using some pipes and hoses, which is also called as dead volume. So depending upon the position, obviously the position of the piston with respect to this base. So this distance is X, this distance from this end to this end is X, which we call it as position of the piston, and accordingly X dot, which we call it as velocity of the piston. And the volume in the piston side of the hydraulic cylinder will be A1X, A1 being the area on the piston side of the hydraulic actuator. So if the dead volume V naught, volumes of pipes and hoses, is greater than equal to A1X, then we say that the volume on this side of the hydraulic actuator is VA. Otherwise, the volume is A1X because normally A1X is much greater than V naught alone. So once we have that, we already know the volume on this part of the circuit. Now using lump fluid theory, which says that the differential of the pressure is equal to effective bulk modulus divided by volume of the uh, hydraulic chamber, the whole thing will be multiplied by a summation of the incoming and outgoing flow rates. If you see this part of the hydraulic actuator, or say let's port A at this point, the flow the flow rate that is going outside, uh, which is going within the hydraulic cylinder, is something which is going outside this control volume, imaginary control volume here. It's A1 x dot, correct? And the flow rate that is coming into this port A is suppose QA. So using the bulk lumped fluid theory, which the same expression that just I told you, it's written in a different form here. You can find QA easily using the same expression. And like before, PA is the pressure at port A at this end. So once we have all of this, what is the output of our system? The output of our system is a force which will be given to the multi-body system. So the force from this hydraulic actuator is fed into the multi-body system that we modeled in the sixth tutorial. Now the force expression, since it's a single acting one, so the flow is coming into just this part of the circuit, and it's not going anywhere until it is directed by the directional control valve to go back to the tank. So the force in this part of the circuit will be A1 into PA. So the pressure at port A and the area A1. And the term over here, which you see, is basically the term coming from the friction part. So the friction of the seals, you can model it in different way, but we have modeled it in such a way that it follows the magnitude of this force A1 PA into piston velocity into 1 minus the efficiency of the cylinder. This piston velocity, if you see the unit, this piston velocity will not make any sense because this is Newton. The force is ultimately Newton, but this becomes Newton meter per second because of this velocity. So in order to get rid of this, we need to normalize it so that we will divide it by 1 meter per second. So the unit at least becomes in balance. And this, the efficiency of the cylinder is unitless. So there is no unit for that. So once you have understood this hydraulic actuator properly, let's figure out the requirements. So in a similar way that we modeled the directional control valve. So our requirement is we have one port A which will be modeled as node. So there is node A. Input can be the piston position and the piston velocity. So X and X dot. What is the output? Output is this force F. What are the parameters required? The parameters required, I can say A1, V naught, so area on the piston side of the actuator, volume of the pipes and hoses, then effective bulk modulus, then efficiency of the cylinder. What are the variables used? The variables that are used are this PA, which will be which we can figure it out using an equation which I'll just show you in a while. This QA are the two variables, and of course this way the VA will also be a variable, but we will model it as an equation, so we will not consider it under variable, and that's all. And then connection branches basically. So the branches port A to simply nothing. Port A is connected to just nothing. It doesn't go anywhere. And the equations will be this if else equation, this QA equation, and this force equation. So four in total. But there will be one pressure equation as well, which I will show you in a while. So I already, from those equations, I already listed you what are the requirements. So I just told you all of this. So let's go ahead and model our hydraulic actuator component. custom made. So let's go back to this one. Let's copy this template again. I will rename this time as custom hydraulic actuator. This is single acting YouTube. And I will open this. I will first of all put the same rename name on the first line of this file so that it doesn't show me error. Also, I have already modeled this a while ago, so I'll just keep it as for my reference so that I do not mess up with things. Now we need to go back to this our model and search for another Simscape component block. Let's rename it as hydraulic actuator multi-body and custom. Okay, so hydraulic actuator multi-body custom. For the SSC file, I will select the one I just created. So this one, press OK. So this is what I just created. Now let's go back to our .ssc file. So for the node, first we will define the node as node A, which can be on the right. Then our input, what was our input? Our input was X and X dot, right? So let's define our input as X and X dot. Start values can be 0. Unit is meter and meter per second. So this is X, this is XD, let's say. It can be on the left hand side of the block. Output is force F. Start value can be 0. Unit is Newton. F. It can be on the left. So now if we save this file and go back and double click this component, you can see we can already see the port A and this input XXT and output F already there. So let's go ahead. We will model the parameters. What were the parameters? The parameter were area on the piston side A1. A default value will be the same value as the sixth tutorial, which is pi into radius square. Radius was 40 millimeters, so 0.04 square. Unit is obviously meters square. Your description, remember this description carefully because this is what appears on the block. So the more small and crisp you will describe, the better it will be for you. So area on the piston side. Similarly, we will define the volume of hoses and pipes. So let's say V naught, and its value is 8 into 10 to the power minus 4. So 80 minus 4. The value also comes from the sixth tutorial. Volume will be meter cube. Its description is dead volume piston side. So dead volume piston side. Okay. Next, we had effective bulk modulus. So effective bulk modulus, its value that we are using is 900 into 10 to the power 6. So basically 900 megapascal. Unit is here Pascal because we already converted that to Pascal using this 10 to the power 6. And last we had eta, which is whose value is 0.9, and unit is, I'll come to that part. It is efficiency of the cylinder. So just be very careful that eta is unitless. Efficiency of the cylinder. In case of system where variables where which has no unit, it is described here that in the unit place we need to define one. So we will say it's unit as one, which means unitless. So once you have defined these, save it and go back to the component, and you can see your parameters here and the values and their respective units. Efficiency of the cylinder is unitless, so this is how it appears. So it looks nice, the description, short and crisp. Now, once we have all the parameters, what are the variables that's required? We will be using the variables PA, so the pressure at port A. Start value can be, let's say, 10 bar, so 10 E5, converting it into Pascal. Description is pressure on piston side. Similarly, we will have the associated flow. Its value can be 0 for the start. Unit is meter cube per second, and description is flow rate. On piston side. So once we define that, we can save and see that, and double click this. We can see the variable here. Pressure on piston side, beginning value, either unit, and accordingly. Okay. Now we need to define the branch. So the branching is basically flow from port A to nothing. So using the same template. So flow QA, which is from node A, variable is Q, to nothing. When there is nothing, we replace it by star. It's shown here if you read the description. So be very careful that you need to give this arrow here. So once you have it, uh, now we need to define the equations. So first we'll define the very simplest equation, which is the force equation. So let the force equation was PA A1 into PA minus X dot into it was absolute of this force A1 into PA, and then there was this 1 minus eta, and you remember that we wanted to neutralize this X dot, so we will divide it by using 1 meter per second. So 1 and the unit is meter per second. Be very careful with this notation that it has to be within this curly braces and unit and its value is written like this so that you don't mess up with things. You remember a while ago I told you I will tell you what is there will be additional pressure equation like we had it for the directional control valve. What is this pressure equation? Pressure equation is double equal to sign. Over here also double equal to sign. So pressure equation is from port A pressure. So this is what we have PAS. So we define the force equation. If we follow over here, we already defined it. First, then we need to define this volume equation and then this flow rate equation. So if you follow this one, let in end statement, the volume equation can be within this let in statement. This is because the equation within this part is used in the later part of the simulation. So may not be the first time step, but at the later time step. Whereas in this one, between in and end, it is used in the present time step, basically the first time step as well. So first model the volume part. Since we have the if else condition, you can do it the usual if else way, or the template is here. I will follow the template. So what we wanted to have is VA. If condition is if A1 into X was less than equal to V naught. This was our condition, right? And in this condition, the value was V naught, else the value was A1X. So we defined this part. Now we need to define the flow rate part. So the volume flow rate part. Volume flow rate part can be defined between this n in and end, where it does use VA, but for the first time step, the VA can be the previous one. So which is zero, I think, if it's not there. So QA, what was the equation? QA was uh, something in plus A1 into X dot. This was the last part, whereas the first part was something PA dot. So we can use this one here. So PA dot DER means P first order differential of pressure PA. The entire thing multiplied by VA divided by effective bulk modulus. Now be very careful about this double equal to sign in the equation part. Once we define, we can cross check. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 equations. And how many variables do we have? 1, 2, and then 3. And the fourth variable is VA, or which is already included here. So that's fine. So in my mind, we have defined this block as well. So we can go to the SimScape model. Okay, there is some error in line 85 of our code. So if we go to line 85, mm, it says some error is there. What is this error? Okay, this error is actually the double equal to sign will not be here. It is under the if statement. So not now save here. This is the if else loop. So that's why it's, the notation is something different. So if we go back here, double click this, now it looks fine. Perfect. So now it's a good idea to replace the the ready-made hydraulic actuator multi-body block with our custom-made block. So let's delete this part of the let's remove this one from the circuit completely, or you can simply delete it. It would be a safer option. So now I hope I make enough space for everything here. Now this port A needs to be connected here, correct? Now this requires position and velocity input. So position and velocity input is basically position and velocity of the prismatic joint. If you see the overall picture, this position and velocity input are in the Z direction because body 1 and body 2 are connected lengthwise and their lengths are in the Z direction. So when you provide the value here, it is actually providing uh, in along the lengthwise between body 1 and 2. So you can simply fetch the data from here, or you can use transform sensor to fetch the data separately if you are not using this actuation, this sensing ports. But I will use this one only. Okay. Now you cannot simply connect this force to the joint as it was earlier because uh, this force is a simulating signal, whereas we have a physical system where you need a signal in the physical system part. So we can use there are the other ways of doing it. You can use external force and torque. In this one, since the direction needs to be defined, this force it's which direction it's acted on. So if we double click this, actuation is we are providing force in the Z direction because that's how this body 1 and body 2 are connected along their lengthwise, which is along the Z direction. So using Control R, we'll rotate. So now if you connect the forces and across this prismatic joint, it's fine. So understand very carefully that you are providing force to body 2 right now, the piston. According to Newton's third law, to every action there should be equal and opposite reaction. So there should be an equal and opposite force on body 1 as well. So how you can do that? You can use the same component block here, but you need to change the direction. You can change the direction using this PSK block. If you double click this, change the direction from 1 to -1, press OK, rotate this. Now simply make the connection using the same force here. And now you can join this circuit. Okay. Once you have made these connections, I think it should not have any problem. It says it has some problem. Invalid because port P of block is producing a signal with M and port A. This is position. This is velocity. Okay, I think I have defined Maybe let me cross check quickly. So we had this port A, we had this x dot, we had the force, we had these variables there already. Maybe in the units are fine too. Yes. Then, okay. I'm just cross checking it with the one that I already made a while ago. Okay. It does look fine to me. I don't know what is the problem. Okay, I really don't know what is the problem. Maybe I'll pause this video and then I will resume the recording. Okay, I have resumed recording. I figure out the problem. It's I made a wrong connection here. I connected the position port with this X dot. So this needs to be connected to the velocity port. So like this. Now if you execute the file, it is fine. It gives me two warning is because these warnings are it is unable to auto save my file because I always work on my server. So just ignore that. But if we now see the position plot, if we see the velocity plot, you can even see the vibration is reduced, but still there is some vibration. Then there is pressure plot, flow rate, volume flow rate, and this U. I would like to see how it is compared to the one where we were using ready-made actuators. So now I will compare it, let's say pressure, and this pressure can be. So now you see when we compare the pressure with this green one is the one which we made we will use the custom made hydraulic actuator, and red is the one where it was automatically uh, ready-made hydraulic actuator block. There is a pressure difference in the beginning. It is because you see this pressure variation is quite less than before because we are very much close to the steady state value, and for that reason there is this initial error. Otherwise for the remaining part of the circuit is more or less same. If you see the velocity plot is also more or less very similar, except the steady state, the instability is reduced. So things looks very nice to me, and it looks like we are on the right track. So let's go ahead and follow the presentation. So I already showed you this part. I showed you this part, even how the system will look like, how will be the animation, and how will be the responses, and the results compared to the previous run. What I have not showed you was the animation. So the first and foremost thing would be to see the animation. If the animation makes sense, then it's a good idea to dig deeper into the plots. So now once we have it, we can simply carry out the steady state, static equilibrium procedure. So we can go to analysis, control design, steady state manager. If you're using the MATLAB 2020 version, the path might be different. Go to trim specification. It will load all the variables here. So we know all the variables except the pressure PA, for which we will guess a value in my version of MATLAB, these values are tens of bars. So 1 means 10 bar. So let's say I'm assuming it 10 bar, and minimum can be 0, maximum can be the pressure of the pump, which is 150 bar. So 15. Once I have done that using trim option, where the I will be using non-linear least square with projection optimization method. Do not worry about the tolerances. It's quite good enough here. And then press this trim option. So this steady state manager will try to find the steady state value for you, a static equilibrium value for you, so that you can get rid of the instabilities at the beginning. So if you see the report, the file was successfully run, and if you see the value here, the actual value is 0.99114 into 10 bar. So this is the value that we needed. You can either put this value manually, or you can just press set initial conditions, and the same value will be there, and we can close it. Do I want to save it? Yes, let's say I save it under this name. And now if we execute the system again, we would have achieved the static equilibrium condition. Let's see the pressure plot, because we had maximum variation there. So you see the initial instability is just vanished. Also with the velocity plot, it's just not there. And if you go to data manager and plot the result, with respect to the previous run where there was no static equilibrium, so now you see at the initial condition, at the initial phase, we were able to achieve the static equilibrium. So the instabilities got removed. Similarly, for the velocity, we can see even though in the velocity plot, initially it was very stable, still it had some uh, vibration there. So we got rid of that. So this is what we can do with data manager. You can plot the results for other variables as well. Let's go back to our presentation. So I already showed you how to find the static equilibrium using steady state manager, and I also showed you how to see the report and how will be the animation and the plots. Yes, we did not see the animation. So if you actually see the animation, there will be actually practically no difference. But if we see the plot, it makes sense. So we also compared the non-static equilibrium result with the static equilibrium result, and this is what we obtained. So that's all from my end for this tutorial. This was the last tutorial of this course. So if you have any question, you can write me an email at this address, or in my personal email address mentioned in the description of this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. In the future, I will be making more videos regarding how to publish paper, how to do the literature review. So everything related to academics, and if you want to pursue a career there. If not, it's fine too. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good day.